All right, so we finally have our hands on the most anticipated game of the year, Ghost of Yotei. Following Ghost of Tsushima being one of the most popular games ever made, and not to mention absolutely gorgeous, it's safe to say I was pretty excited to get my hands on this and also bring you this platinum video. Now, the Ghost of Yotei Platinum took me approximately 45 hours with what I would say is a 3 to 4 out of 10 difficulty, collecting a total of 54 trophies, including story-related trophies, combat challenges, collectibles, and a few other things along the way in this ever so beautiful Platinum. Now, strap in, leave a like to help push this out into the algorithm for me, and let's get our next platinum trophy. The story begins with our main character, Atsu. Now, as a child, Atsu's family was attacked and killed by a group called the Yotei Six. And after witnessing her whole family fall before her eyes, she is then pinned to a tree with a sword and left to burn alive. Yep, it starts out like that. It is that crazy right from the beginning. Now, fast forward a little bit, it turns out Atsu actually manages to escape the burning tree, and we pick up years later when she has spent her entire life dedicated to training to one day come back and take down the Yotei Six in a crazy revenge story. The game picks up immediately with the first member of the Yotei Six, the Snake. Now, this fight is kind of just an intro to the game and the combat and a little bit of a tutorial level in case you didn't play Ghost of Tsushima. And while still an enjoyable fight, the first member of the Yotei Six just left a lot to be desired, but this did lead to our first trophy. As you move past the tutorial, the game introduces you to bamboo strikes, which were also in Ghost of Tsushima, and they add spirit to help you with healing in battle and performing some special moves. You also get taught smithing to upgrade your weapons at your father's old forge in your home, which, trust me, helps a lot later in the game, and it also ties to another trophy later on. Now, finally, leaving the first area, we jump on our horse and we get to relive the beauty of Ghost of Tsushima's intro once again in Ghost of Yotei. I mean, look at this. How can you not think this looks incredible? Now, shortly after we arrive in our first town, which serves as a bit of a hub for the game, we meet a bow merchant to help you with your ranged gear, a bounty merchant who sends you basically out to track down the scum of the world and kill them in the surrounding areas. And then there's a cartographer who maps out the places around you to help you find things like hot springs, more bamboo strikes, and other stuff that can help Atsu throughout the game. Now, from here, our first mission is to seek out Hanbei and learn the art of the dual katanas. You'll need to perform a few tasks for him and help him out, including defending his home, and in reward, you're able to dual wield katanas going forward. Now, there's a few quests like this throughout the game where we unlock all of our different weapons. There's a bunch that are coming up in the video, and you're going to enjoy it. There's pretty much a trophy tied to every single one, so you will see all of them along the way. Now, trophy number 3, from here I ventured out into the open world, found my first hot spring, and yes, they show bare ass like they did in Ghost of Tsushima, but I can't show it without getting banned. So you horny fuckers are just going to have to wait. I then met our little wolf friend who is going to help us throughout the game and was able to pop my next trophy for completing a standoff with a companion. During the same encounter, I was actually able to unlock another trophy called wolf bait for using a sake jar on an enemy who triggers a wolf to attack them. So all I had to do was yeet this jar at an enemy and the wolf jumped on him and that popped a trophy. So that's pretty cool as well. Arriving in the next town, I was actually introduced to a game called Zeni Hajiki, a game where you flick coins to collide them with another one. And let me tell you, this game was infuriating but addicting at the same time. If you struggle with this game, there is actually a setting you can turn on that shows you how hard your flick is going to be, and it makes it way easier to win, which I kind of wish I knew before I was like 30 hours into the game. But anyways, winning our first game of this actually gets us our 4th trophy as well. After winning some coin, I decided to complete a nearby bamboo strike, and I accidentally opened the photo mode, which triggered another unexpected trophy pop, but hey, I'll take it. Now, while the combat in this game is very similar to Ghost of Tsushima, Atsu doesn't really follow samurai code or concern herself with being honorable. She is on a pure vendetta mission, which allows me to do one of my favorite things in the game, which is disarm an enemy and then yeet their own weapon through their chest, which in turn actually gives us another trophy as well. But this thing is so cool. This is such a sick mechanic, and it helps clear out herds of enemies when you are absolutely surrounded. And trust me, there's a few times in this game where you will feel that way. So using this to your advantage is very important. Now, moving on to the next part of the story, we managed to track down Lord Saito, the leader of the Yotei Six, and also the reason there is a massive war going on. This guy's a bit of a psycho. So we try to sneak in and take him down, but he manages to avoid our attempt to connect and ends up taking us outside for a duel. While Atsu thinks she will finally have a chance to take down the man responsible for killing her family, an incoming explosion knocks her from her feet, allowing Lord Saito to escape into the flames. Now, once Atsu awakens and Lord Saito is gone, she needs to follow clues to the rest of the Yotei Six. So on the way to my next mission, I found a campsite, which I knew I could unlock trophy number 7, for playing a song on the shamisen, which is like an old school guitar, for our newfound friends at the campsite. Now, making it to the next town, I was actually able to pick up another easy trophy simply for collecting 10 full jars of sake, which you can buy from this vendor or just find around the map as you explore. They're pretty much all over the place, so you shouldn't have any trouble doing this one. But I pretty much just forced Atsu to chug a bunch of sake, and every time she finished a bottle, I just bought a new one from this guy. So it was kind of an easy trophy, but I don't know how Atsu feels after all of that. It's at this point that we are introduced to the Matsume, the clan that is fighting against Lord Saito in the war, and one of their commanders who seems all too familiar. But before we get to figure out why, the Matsume camp is attacked by the Oni Raiders, which is the group that's working for Lord Saito, under the control of the Oni, which is our next Yotei Six target. I hope you guys followed all of that because there's a lot there. But after clearing out the Oni Raiders, the plot twist that the commander we just met is actually Junpei, which is Atsu's twin brother, who she thought was killed with the rest of her family many, many years ago. Discovering this revelation also pops our next trophy, adding number 9 to the tally. Now, one thing about this game is that it is so easy to get distracted from the main story with how many side missions, hot springs, and other things there are to do in this game. I found myself chasing Oni Raiders, taking out bounties, and learning a new song on the shamisen, all of which helped towards other trophies later on before returning back to the story. But they didn't actually pop anything at this moment. I was just kind of aware of what I needed to do for some trophies down the line, and it made it easier just to get them out of the way while I was close by. Now, next thing on the storyline was that we were to track down Mad Goro, an informant who knew the whereabouts of the Oni, who was our next target on the list. After defeating Mad Goro, Atsu and Junpei disagree on what should be done with him, and it ultimately ends in Atsu caving and allowing Junpei to take Goro back to his leader, which, come to find out, big mistake. Again, after this, I got distracted with some of the many side quests in this game. I found a wolf den and helping out our furry friend rescue some of his buddies that I had captured. I didn't expect to pop for trophy at this point, but the horror trophy triggered from making 20 enemies collapse in fear using our special ability, the Onryo's Howl, which is like the ghost's howl in Japanese. 10 trophies down and on to the next one. Well, sort of. I quickly took a side quest to find the Undying Samurai, which upon his defeat gives you his armor, working towards one of our other trophies later on, which will require me to unlock all of the armor sets in the game. So again, I know, I just get distracted. There's so much to do in this game. Don't tell me you haven't been doing the exact same thing when you've been playing it. But next I jumped into another hot spring, found an Altar of Reflection to unlock a new ability on the skill tree, and I definitely did not spend the next 30 minutes gambling away all of my money on Zeni Hajiki. Okay, maybe I did, but after losing all of my money and all of my self-respect, I thought best to get back to our next trophy. And to be honest, this was my favorite one on the entire list, the Sayonara Trophy. And it's exactly as it sounds. This one is awarded for shoulder charging or kicking an enemy off a cliff. So I channeled my inner Sonny Bill Williams and sent this poor unfortunate soul to the Shadow Realm. Also, if you don't understand the Sonny Bill Williams reference, please just YouTube his best tackles and you'll understand why I use that reference. Just go educate yourself after this video. Now, my next side mission introduced me to Hoochie. Yes, that's right. Her name is Hoochie. No, it doesn't mean what you think it does. That's just her name. Okay. She needed help getting rid of some bandits, and we ended up rescuing a baby bear, and it was really cute. And once we completed this, we also received our next trophy, and for our troubles, we actually got some really cool looking robes from her. But the pro tip for this one, especially if you're going for the platinum, these robes are actually really helpful as they extend the range for the little yellow bird to show you the hot springs, the bamboo strikes, and other collectibles that you're going to need for more of the trophies in the future. So keep in mind that if you're wearing these robes when you're traveling throughout the world, you can be further away from where these hot springs are and the little yellow bird will find you. Now, after spending hours distracted from the main line, I thought I should head back and continue our story. Atsu and Junpei discover a way into the Oni's castle and carefully plan to take him down. Once inside, we are blessed with the coolest face off scenery in the entire game before jumping into battle. And now, while taking down the only required Atsu, they did decide that Junpei should jump in and pull off just the coldest tag team assassination to give us trophy number 13. As you move from camp to camp, you'll come across small groups of enemies terrorizing villages, and when you step in, you can interrogate the last one left alive for information that you need in the game. The very persuasive trophy is awarded for interrogating 10 enemies, so make sure to stop when you actually do see random groups of enemies terrorizing people on your travels, because it's going to help carry towards this trophy too. Our next chapter is to track down the next member of the Yotei Six, which is the Kitsune. But to do so, we kind of have to travel like all the way north to this snowy region, covered in enemy camps, which we're going to have to fight our way through in order to find their leader. Now, as we travel into the north, we meet Lady Oyuki, a Shimisen player who seems to have a lot of inside information for us regarding the Kitsune. Now, she also helps us find our first Ninetales puzzle box, which we're going to need to unlock 12 of them for a trophy. So don't neglect these. Make sure you pay attention and pick them up when you find them. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back and get them later. Now, after fighting through our first Ninetales camp, I found a nearby side quest that I knew was tied to a trophy, so I decided to lock in on this one and help Hannah defend her farms, and in doing so, we unlocked the kunai, which is extremely helpful for breaking enemies' guards in combat, and once we finished helping her protect all of the farms, we got the kunai defender trophy, adding number 15 to the books. Next, I decided to knock out the side quest unlocking the other melee weapons, the Kusurigama. I'm probably butchering that. Kusarigama? Gima? I don't know how to say it. Anyways, and the Yari, which is a big long stick that you pretty much just poke people with. So these are pretty simple. Do a bit of training with each of the masters, and once you complete them, you get the weapons and the tools of the warrior training for unlocking all of the melee weapons in the game. And all you really need to do is once you've got the weapons, you just defend their home and then you get the trophy. It's really simple. The Kusarigama training was pretty simple. All I had to do was break the shields of a couple of enemies. And the Yari training, on the other hand, was kind of weird. You had to go spear fishing. Yes, that's right, spear fishing. Basically, you got encouraged to snag 4 fish on the end of the pole. And to further your training, ironically enough, there's a trophy for snagging 5 fish, but the quest only requires you to do 4 and it stops at that point. And you can't actually go back to that same area and catch more fish in the future. You have to find a completely different fishing spot. So we're not going to get that trophy right now. We will get that shortly. Now, putting that trophy on the back burner until I find more fish to spear, I quickly got the Owl's Talon trophy for completing a Kusarigama assassination, which are actually super helpful, by the way. Pretty much a ranged assassination from like 5 to 10 meters away. But hey, we love an easy trophy and we're going to take it. Pretty shortly after this as well, I actually got the 18th trophy for finding my 30th altar of reflection. Now, the altars are pretty much just find them and you can upgrade one of your skill tree abilities. So the more you find, obviously, the more you're going to be able to do in combat. So keep an eye out for them as you go. They're not 100% necessary, but it does make it a little bit easier to have some cool abilities while you're playing the game. Just stops it from getting a little bit more stale. Now, after this, I backtracked to the starting area to complete a side quest to name your horse, because this has another trophy attached to it. So for this one, you pretty much just go talk to the stable master, find the missing horses for him, come back with them, and then he allows you to take one with you, and then you get to name it as well. And this pops another trophy, which is super simple. Anyways, funny story. While I was actually around the horse area to do that mission, I spotted a fishing spot. So I quickly just jumped down there to spear one more fish and netted myself another trophy. Get it? Netted myself like fishing net? No, never mind. I'm sorry. Don't worry. Disregard me. Anyways, setting my sights on another easy trophy, the Moment to Breathe trophy is awarded for getting a perfect score in a game called Kuishink? I don't know how to pronounce. Again, these names just cook me. I have no idea, but you can roast me down in the comments all you want. I don't care. But basically, you shoot arrows through rings. You just have to make 6 shots in a row, and you will reward with a trophy pop. Returning to the main story, Lady Oyuki reveals to us that she has formerly been the Kitsune. And pretty much she was the Kitsune when Atsu was attacked as a child. And Once Atsu finds this out, she kind of just jumps her and attacks her and goes a little bit crazy. But when the fight ends, Oyuki explains to her what happened that night with her family when it was killed, and that she actually was the one that helped Atsu escape, even though Atsu couldn't really remember what happened. She also explains that the new Kitsune needs to be stopped and that she had no choice but to follow Lord Saito all those years ago. Oyuki does agree to help Atsu train and learn the ways of the shinobi, though, and actually comes with us on the rest of the journey to help us take down the Yotei Six. So she's kind of at a turning point. She's figured out that she did something wrong and she wants to help stop Lord Saito. Now, this gives us new abilities in stealth and sensing enemies, and it's actually kind of helpful, but it does draw on what I would say is very reminiscent of Assassin's Creed Shadows with their whole detection system, but I guess kind of not done as well. I feel like that's where AC Shadows really shines in the stealth department, but Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei, they're still learning. They're not quite there with that yet, but it helped, you know. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it got the job done. Now, before completing this mission, Lady Oyuki actually teaches you one final lesson to control the poison that the new Kitsune was using to take out his enemy. With all of those things out of the way, we get together with Lady Oyuki, we play a song on the Shimasen, and unlock Trophy 22. So, with our new shinobi abilities intact, Atsu is able to infiltrate the Kitsune lair and take down the leader. This fight was actually pretty interesting. You had to use the sensibility that Lady Oyuki just taught us to sense where the Kitsune was coming from so that you could actually respond to his attacks, parry him, and get some hits in. So I really like that change in dynamic for this particular boss fight, even though the stealth and I guess the sensing ability isn't great. It made this fight more interesting than just your regular hack and slash one. So, oh yeah, and we get the Kitsune trophy afterwards. So that's a bonus too. Now, after returning to the Matsumai camp, they are under attack, and her brother reveals the secret that nobody was expecting, that his daughter was trapped inside. Now, nobody actually knew that he had a daughter. There was no mention of it before, and he failed to mention it to Atsu. So with help from Oyuki, Junpei and Atsu are able to clear out the camp and save his daughter just in the nick of time. And after completing that mission, I finally had enough crafting materials to fully upgrade my katana. Now, this was just for the single katana, but we do get a trophy pop for that as well. At this point, we venture into a brand new area and we have the opportunity to meet a gunsmith. And after helping him defeat a few enemies similar to the other weapon-related unlock missions, you pretty much just take out a bunch of enemies that were attacking his home, and he grants us the ability to use a new ranged weapon, unlocking the Quick Draw trophy. At this point, I realize I haven't actually mentioned anything about the charms in this game, but the charms that you can equip actually increase certain abilities and traits for Atsu throughout the game, and they can also be leveled up by completing certain tasks while they're equipped. I was able to upgrade 10 different charms, which also awards the trophy called Charming, and this is really easy to do. Like, you just have to, I guess, hit certain people or break certain blocks or do certain things throughout the combat to actually elevate and level these up to make their abilities stronger. With my new upgraded weapons and charms, I decided to go back and do a side quest I missed in the north for another trophy. The Way of the Kusarigama trophy pops when you help Master Inamoto confront his grandson from the Ninetales. So we'd already taken out the Kitsune, but we had to take out this guy as well to get this trophy. I had that really mixed up. I thought because I already had the Kusarigama that this trophy should have popped. And I was like, is this bugged? But no, you just have to do this side quest. So even though it ends with his grandson dying and Master Inamoto finally getting closure, it awards us with that trophy. And I was very relieved to actually see it pop because I was concerned for a minute. I'm not going to lie to you. After this, I just went and helped Master Takahashi defend his dojo to give me another side quest trophy. And before solving a super confusing puzzle for my 30th piece of vanity gear, unlocking yet another trophy. Now, my 30th trophy came once I had unlocked the pistol parry ability, which is a ranged ability allowing you to take down a third enemy in the standoff phase when you approach a new fight. So using this for the first time gives you the From the Hip trophy. All you have to do is time, obviously, your first standoff exchange, then the second one where you slice through the charging enemy, and then using the pistol for the third. So there's a couple of abilities you actually have to have unlocked to be able to do this. So you might need to get a little bit further into the game until you can actually do it. Continuing on to help another one of our weapons masters defend their home. Yes, you're starting to see a theme because I'm doing them all in order. Helping take care of the enemies attacking Master Yoshida grants us yet another similar trophy. And yes, there is basically one of these for each of the weapon masters. Now, finally, returning back to the story, we track down the spider, one of Lord Saito's two sons, and absolutely destroy all of his guards in front of him. After this, we're pretty much able to fight the spider, but ultimately we choose to capture him instead of killing him so that we can lure out his brother, the dragon. Boo. Yeah, I know. I wanted him to die too, but it's all good. We'll get him later. We'll lead out the dragon. Once we get him, we'll do it both at the same time. It's fine. However, this does give us a trophy for reliving the night of the burning tree. No surprise for this next one. I got distracted with a side mission again for like the 60th time in this game because I have the attention span of a baby seahorse. But this time it led me to meet Takazo, the Unrivaled, an undefeated swordsman who other bounty hunters were attempting to seek out and take down or seek out and get training from. He was basically seen as the man who could not be killed. And after an initial confrontation with Takazo, he told us to meet him at the top of Mount Yotei to face him in one final duel to see who really was the best. And on my way up there, we popped another trophy for finding the charms Atsu's parents left for her on the side of the mountain. Past the halfway point on the trophy list now, and trophy number 34 was pretty simple. Defeat Takazo, at least I thought it would be simple. Finally, on what felt like the 40th attempt, we were able to beat him. Also, who thought freezing my health bar was a good idea? That's just bad gaming, bro. That hurt me so much to the point where he could just one-shot me. That's why it took so many attempts, is because my health bar froze and I only had the smallest amount of health left and all he had to do was hit me once. Thanks, Sucker Punch. That was really fun. Anyways, I complain a lot, but after defeating Takazo, I went seeking through the Explosives Master to try and round out my ranged weapons. During this mission, Atsu is taught about fire bombs and catches a nice easy trophy for lighting an enemy on fire, followed by another trophy for unlocking all of our ranged weapon items. So we got two quick ones there as well. And for the hat trick, helping Ina defeat the incoming Oni Raiders also awarded us the Gift of Destruction trophy. So one mission, 3 trophies. That's not bad. Now that we have all of our ranged weapons, I decided to finish off the last of the wolf den missions. These are pretty simple. You find a wolf den, you follow the wolf, you beat the bad guys, you rescue the other wolves, and then you unlock an ability for it. Even though you can't track these, once you unlock all of the wolf abilities, you pretty much know you're there for the next trophy as well. So you should see it pop at that point. Now, finally returning to the main story, Atsu uses the spider after capturing him to lure out the dragon, his older brother, and our next member of the Yotei Six. We take on the dragon, killing him in front of the spider, causing the spider to flee and escape, but not before capturing our next trophy. Chasing down the spider to a specific location was easy enough, and after defeating him, Atsu actually takes mercy on him. The spider claims that without his brother, he's nothing, and that he wants to disappear into a new life and blah, 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 and leave everything behind. You guys get it, right? Atsu kind of feels like she's in a similar circumstance, so she actually lets him go, which I didn't like, but I get it, because she's like growing and like character development and plot and all of those kind of things. But I really wanted to cut his head off. He was super annoying throughout the story. So I don't know. It felt like third time was a charm. We were finally going to get him, but unfortunately she just like lets him go. So, but we still get a trophy, so it's all good. Now, trophy 41 was pretty simple. Just collect all of the offerings from our hub locations. These get dropped off pretty much any time that you take out a Yotei 6 member. So just keep progressing throughout the story and these are going to spawn in for you. Then you can fast travel back to the sort of hub towns and pick up the prizes from there. There's nothing too crazy. It's just like a few bits of gear, but it's still something. Now, our chance to have a showdown with Lord Saito had arrived. The man who killed Atsu's family. The crew storm the castle, ready to get their revenge, only to realize Lord Saito is one step ahead, and he's not at the castle. He's actually made his way to Atsu's childhood home and taken her niece captive along with it. Now, I won't spoil everything that happens here. I'll let you experience that for yourself. But as you can guess, because we are the good guys, right? We do defeat Lord Saito in an epic duel. And in a full circle moment, Atsu actually pins him to the same tree that he pinned her to when he set her on fire all those years ago. This closes out the main story and gives us a gold trophy for completing Ghost of Yotei. So now, with the story finished and not many trophies left to acquire, it was a pretty quick cleanup from here. I started by ridding Ezo, which is the area that we live in, of all the Yotei Six camps, which are the big red marked areas on your maps. I was also able to learn the final shamisen song, took down our final bounty, and finished the last mountain puzzle to nab myself a handful of more trophies. After tackling those couple of quick ones, I went for probably the most fan service trophy in the game, giving us a mission to track down the Stormblade. And I do have to say, this mission was incredible. The traversal was actually the best in the game. The fights were fun, and visually, these cutscenes just looked incredible. What more could you possibly want from this mission? I dare say that there isn't much short of a appearance from the Ghost of Tsushima, but he's long dead at this point, so it's cool to actually find his weapon. Now, 5 trophies left, and I started with the final Sumi E painting location. Needed to pop the Artist's Eye trophy. These are pretty simple. You just find locations around the map that you have to paint in. And when you complete all of the paintings, you get this trophy as well. So another simple one. This was actually followed by acquiring the last piece of armor that I needed to get to pop another trophy and completing the final Fox Den mission, which is basically the same thing as the Wolf Den mission, but just with a tiny little difference where you have to rescue a fox rather than always taking on enemies in combat. Sometimes you just have to save them from like a cave they're stuck in or something along those lines, but super easy to complete anyway. So we got all of them done, and you actually get a pretty cool fox mask for doing that as well. Now, doing a stupid amount of mountain climbs to secure the mind, body, and spirit trophy, which to be fair, which I urge you to do this as you come across them instead of leaving them all until the end like I did, because I spent like 2 hours straight just climbing mountains to get these done, and it was super boring. So if you see the little, like, I don't know what to even call them, not shrines, but like you'll see them on your map, right? Go climb the mountain when you see it. Don't leave them all until the end if you're planning to do the platinum, because it's just not a fun time. Now, 52, 53, and 54 are super simple trophies. The final 2 were unlocked for finding all of the secret bow locations, where you pretty much just have to find these locations on the map with these little signs. You either bow there or you play the shamisen. And then the final trophy is unlocked by opening up all of the Ninetales puzzle boxes and getting all the prizes out from inside there. But the prizes are terrible. Like by the time you're at this point in the game, the prizes that they give you are just materials that are not even worth it. So you're pretty much just opening the box to get the trophy. But luckily for me, it was the last one I needed, and it gave me the platinum. So that brings us to the end of Ghost of Yotei. This game is absolutely incredible. I had a ton of fun playing it, and it really built on everything that Ghost of Tsushima was. Now, I haven't actually platinumed Ghost of Tsushima, so let me know if you want to see that in the comments down below, and I can do that in the future for you guys as well. All I can say is this game is absolutely worth the purchase. And if you're wanting a fun, enjoyable platinum run that isn't going to make you pull your hair out, I definitely suggest doing a Ghost of Yotei.